The ever-lingering question many video game companies have in their mind. How can I create the next Fortnite? Hello? Oh, what? No? That's not what they're thinking? Oh, they are. Well, okay, what's the second most asked question by video game companies? How do I create the next Mario? Iconic video game characters serve a multitude of purposes, from being a company's mascot to being the way the masses perceive your brand. Whether Nintendo likes it or not, Mario communicates that Nintendo is a video game company that caters to everyone, from children to adults. Sonic represents Sega's good-spirited and never-dying optimism. Master Chief says Microsoft, where we really don't know what to do with our ideas. And Banjo effectively translate Rare's childlike wonder and creativity. So it's no wonder that coming up with a video game character is something invaluable for a lot of video game companies, because they mean so much and they do so much. So if any video game company is watching this, what are you doing? Get back to brainstorming. But here I will try and apply narrative techniques that some authors use to create memorable experiences in their stories. Maybe we can get some tips from I Am Legend's most memorable character, the dog. Lived like a good boy and die like a martyr. There's many narrative techniques and elements that need to be taken into consideration. First, let's look at what kind of character you're looking to bring into life. In fiction, there are many types of characters. For example, there's dynamic characters, which is usually a character that experiences a change in their personality or their motivation through their story. There's also something known as a round character. No, not curvy, but a round character, which is a character that is fully fleshed out and helps make the story a lot more interesting. So now that we know we're going for a fully rounded character, it's important to know where this character comes from. The why of his motivations can be better explained through a backstory. For example, what makes Mario a very relatable character is that he's an average Joe. He's just a plumber who somehow manages to get the attention of royalty.
Dear Mario, I'll be waiting for you at the castle on the night of the Star Festival. There's something I'd like to give you.
Giggity, giggity, giggity.
Banjo is a lovingly and lazy bear that loves his family more than anything. So much so that he's willing to risk his life for them. This makes both characters someone who a majority of people can relate to, because it's human nature to root for one of our own, or someone we can relate to. Once you have a captivating backstory, you can begin focusing on the character's traits with a lot more detail. In fiction, there are 5 methods of characterization: physical description, action or attitude, inner thoughts, reactions, and speech. First, we can look at the physical description. Pretty straightforward, but this is where authors have probably one of the biggest and only chances to make this character likable and relatable. However, the author must balance both relatability and heroicness. We all love an underdog, but we also need a character with the physical appearance of someone heroic. Mario is short and pudgy, but he's also extremely athletic. I mean, the man can do acrobatics like no other short and pudgy humanoid. Master Chief, on the other hand, is nothing short of a super soldier. Most of us can't relate to that now, can we? More on why characters like Master Chief are good characters later in the video. Now, how about the character's attitude? Yeah, needs a little work. But attitude provides a deeper picture to a character. We all strive to be unique in our own person, but our attitude and our actions and even our behaviors are predetermined as soon as we're born. Some of us are prone to be more positive minded. Others are less afraid of public speaking and can talk to a wall for hours. Some of us tend to be a lot more bold and so on and so forth. Once we begin to understand the character as far as their backstory, we can begin to design their attitude and their behavior. Lara Croft is not a great example of a character with a good backstory. Her origin story has deviated a multitude of times from the first version of the story. However, her fundamental upbringing remains almost the same in all of the story's alterations. She comes from a rather adventurous family of aristocrats and archaeologists. It is only when she faces a challenge, whether that be losing both her parents or getting stranded after a plane crash, that she rises up from the ashes with a sense of adventure, and her behavior begins reflecting that. This is what dictates Lara Croft's behavior and attitude. Next up, we have to take into consideration the character's inner thoughts. The way the character thinks reveals a lot about the why of their actions, and also paints a more vivid picture about the character's attitudes. Our inner thoughts dictate a lot about how we act, we react, and they even define our behaviors, whether consciously or subconsciously. A good example of this is Batman. I know, he's not a video game character originally, as much as he wishes to be, but for the sake of this video, we'll use him as an example. Batman's inner thoughts about his parents' murder basically drives his whole motivation to fight for what's good. His inner thoughts are also consumed by fear. This is why he embraces so much of this feeling and uses it as a form of motivation. However, this is also why his enemies focus a lot on his fear as his weakness. Thus, this fear making Batman a more relatable character. Now, our character doesn't really live in an unpopulated world. Sure, Link, for example, is a lone wolf of sorts, but he still affects others around him. When creating a character, we need to look at how they make feel those around them. How does our character affect them? Do they make them feel happy, scared, upset? Do they uplift others around them? This effect on others helps the player better understand the main character. Unfortunately, how people perceive us is a very defining characteristic of each and every one of us. This is why hygiene is a very important thing in life. Please wear deodorant. It makes life a lot easier. Finally, we have to look at speech. How do we want our character to sound? Speech is also another way that other people can define how to perceive us. And I'm just gonna stop here and give an example of this in action. Do you remember Donkey Kong?
He's the leader of the bunch. You know him well.
Yeah, him. Remember what he used to sound back in the day? Yeah, like a lovable ape. The way he sounded made Donkey Kong a more lovable character than he was supposed to be perceived as. I mean, he was the villain in the first arcade game. But what does Nintendo go and does after so many years of him being my go-to character in Mario Kart? They change his voice to this. This abomination. He doesn't even sound like an ape. He sounds like a complete idiot. Who in Nintendo went ahead and said, you know what? Everybody likes Donkey Kong a little bit too much. We gotta make him sound more of a frantic buffoon. Sorry, but you can see how much speech can affect a character. His voice means a lot to me. Now, you remember that I mentioned Master Chief and how not very relatable he is? This is also where video game developers can just take everything that I just said and throw it down the garbage. And this is when you can basically create a blank character. Blank character being a term that I just created right now. A blank character is someone who doesn't really have a voice. So, in a way, the character is you. And in this way, the character makes the player feel more in tune with the video game. Now, how about I put into practice all that I just said and create a video game character of my own? So let's see. First, he has to look like me, to make him relatable a little bit. I'm kind of short and pudgy. I did manual labor for most of my adult life, and I really like wearing hats. You know what? This is actually kind of hard. And with this, I want to ask you, what makes a good video game character? Is it its relatability? Relatability. That's a word. Is it its heroicness? I don't know. You tell me. But hopefully this video provides a good blueprint to creating one. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been True Fernie. If you like this video, please make sure to like it and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, go ahead and hit that dislike button. Everything helps. Links to my social media are down below. And I guess I'll just see you in the next one. Peace.